Okay, let us start this one. So this is an introduction of basic electronics. So our first topic is the two types of current flow. Suppose we have here a series circuit which has a voltage source, a DC voltage source which is called Vs, which has also a positive and negative terminal. And then we have also here a resistor which is R, and we have here also a load. LED na lang ilagay natin, and then yeah. So this is a series connection of Vs, R, and LED. Suppose we want to know the total current here, which is called IT. If you want to analyze the circuit and then computing the value of the current, you can use either of the two types of current flow. So, pwede mong gamitin dyan yung tinatawag nating conventional flow. In conventional flow, the flow of current is from positive terminal of the battery going to the negative terminal of the battery, like this one. Okay, so the flow of current here is from positive going to the negative. Another type of current flow is called electron flow. In electron flow, this is only the reverse direction or reverse flow of the conventional flow. That is from negative to positive. Okay, so if we draw here in the circuit diagram, that is from negative terminal of the battery going to the positive terminal of the battery. Okay, so to explain this to you broadly, these two types of current flow, we must go back to the history. So if you know Benjamin Franklin, okay, si Benjamin Franklin kasi siya yung nagpatunay na yung flow ng current is from positive to negative o yung tinatawag nating conventional flow. So using his theory, which is called fluid theory or the fluid theory of electricity, okay, in his theory, he visualized that the electricity is equal to the invisible fluid. So, meron siyang ginawa mga experiments doon. Yung unang experiment niya ay gumamit siya ng two objects. Yun yung glass rod. Yung pangalawa ay yung tinatawag na silk. This is a glossy silk. Okay? Tela yan na glossy. Yung makintab. Okay? So, ang ginawa niya dito, nirub niya itong silk doon sa glass. So, after rubbing the silk to the glass, he felt something charged to the glass. And then, because of this, there are some questions in his mind na saan nanggaling yung charge after rubbing the silk to the glass rod. So, the first question na pumasok sa isip niya ay saan ba nanggaling yung charge after rubbing the silk to the glass? Okay? Yun ba ay galing ground? Or galing sa kamay na nag-rub? Is coming from the hand? The one did the rubbing? Or the charge is coming from the two objects? Okay? So, because of these questions, gumawa pa rin siya ng isa pang experiment. Let's say, we call this experiment 1, and then we call this experiment 2. So, in his second experiment, hindi lang dalawang objects yung ginamit niya dito. Nagkaroon siya ng isang person, and then pinatong niya yun sa isang wax. Okay, this is a wax. Wax is a type of insulator. So, para ma-cancel out niya itong other question o yung isang question na yung charge ba ay nanggaling sa ground. To cancel out this question, so he put a person in a wax. Yan. So that the person is not directly contacted to the ground. So, this is the ground. Okay? So, and then, yung glass rod, pinahawak niya dun sa person. And then, nirab pa rin itong silk. Kiniskis pa rin dito sa glass rod. And then, after the silk was rubbed to the glass, meron pa rin charge na na-experience itong person. Okay? And then, after that, he found out that the glass rod attracted a paper. So, meron siyang ginamit dito na another object which is called paper o yung papel na attract ito ng glass rod. This paper was attracted with the glass rod. Okay? So, he analyze again the experiment. Nawala na yung isang question na yung charge na galing sa ground. So, dito na lang sa dalawa. Okay? So, and then he realized that the charge is coming from the two objects, which is from the silk and from the glass rod. So, with that, he made another experiment, which is called, or let us say that is experiment number 3. In experiment number 3, meron siyang ginawa o mayroon siyang subject dito na dalawang tao o dalawang person. Okay? So, nakatayo pa rin yan sa wax, yung dalawang person na yan, in the experiment number 3. And then, this first person, holding again a glass rod, and then the second person, so, after rubbing a silk to the glass, okay, there is a charge here, coming from the silk and the glass rod. And then, this second person is holding or hold the glass rod, and then the paper was attracted again by this second person. So, ang nangyari dito is yung charge pala na nakuha niya dito sa first experiment and second experiment ay pwede palang i-transfer from one subject to the another subject or from one person to the other person. So, because of these three experiments, so if he made the conclusion that two objects, which is the glass rod and the silk, has its own fluid. So, in that time, he called that fluid electricity or fluid electric. Okay, so this silk has also its own fluid electric. Okay, and then nasabi niya rin na yung each object has its own normal share of fluid. Okay, this is before rubbing. So before rubbing, there is an equal amount of fluid electric, or each of the object has equal amount of fluid or normal share of fluid. Okay? Pareho pa silang amount ng fluid without rubbing pa. And then, with the second experiment, he conclude after rubbing, he conclude that the object after rubbing, let's say this is a glass object, has now more amount of fluid. Okay, and then this silk has now less amount of fluid or fluid electricity or fluid electric. And then he called this more amount of fluid or greater amount of fluid as positive charge. And he called this less amount of fluid as negative charge. For the last conclusion he did, ito yung nangyari during the contact. So during the contact between these two persons, from first person to the second person, he concluded that the charge can flow from the first person to the second person. And then he conclude that this first charge is coming from the first object, which is the person holding the glass rod, which has a positive charge, and then the second person, which has a negative charge. And he realized that the flow of fluid electric is from this positive to negative. Okay? Kung i-compare natin ito into real fluid, ito yon. So, let's say for example, meron tayong tank na lang, dalawang tank. So, the first tank has a level of water here na ganito kataas. And then, the second tank has a level of water na ganito kataas. Okay? So, let's say for example, we have a hole here, and then sa kabila meron din. Then meron tubo na nagko-connect sa kanilang dalawa. So, what do you think the flow of fluid here, the flow of water? So, obviously, yung tubig or yung fluid magpo-flow from this tank, first tank, to the second tank. Because mas maraming laman nito compared dito. And because of the gravity, the flow of water is from this point to this point. So that is the idea in the real fluid. And also the idea of Benjamin Franklin in the fluid electricity. That's why he proved that the flow of current or the flow of electricity is from positive to negative, or what we call the conventional flow. This one. Okay? Actually, meron pang ginawang experiment si Benjamin Franklin dati during the discovery of electricity. Ito kasi, nauna kasi na-discover yung electricity kaysa sa electrons. So, kaya marami nagtatalo dati kung ano ba talaga yung flow ng kuryente or flow of current. Kung ito ba ay conventional flow, which is from positive to negative, or negative to positive, which is yung electron flow. So, kasi dati, nung kapag mga ganito, discovery is a big deal. Marami nagsasabi na ang tunay na flow ng current is from positive to negative dahil nga mas nauna na invent to yung electricity kesa sa electron. Okay? So, electricity was discovered during, I think that was 1700s. And then electron was discovered on or during 1800s. Okay, so mas nauna na invento yung electricity compare kay electron. Okay? And then, when we say electron flow, if we go back to the history of the electron flow, kung bakit naging negative to positive yung flow ng kuryente dun sa electron flow, it's just because of the electron itself. So coming from the free electrons, if you know free electrons coming from the, for example, coming from the atom, let us have an example. Example, a copper atom. Copper atom, which has a symbol of Cu. Okay, so we all know that the copper atom is a neutral atom which has a atomic number of 29 and has also an atomic mass of 64. So kung titingnan mo yan sa periodic table of elements, so makikita mo dun yung atomic mass and the atomic number. Okay? So dito ata nakalagay sa taas yung atomic mass and then yung atomic number is dito nakalagay. If I am not mistaken. Okay? So but ang pinakamahalaga lang naman dyan is yung atomic number sa pag-analyze ng free electrons. Okay? In computing the number of electrons, the number of protons, or the number of neutrons in the certain atom, dito mo rin makikita sa atomic mass and atomic number. Well, let's say for example, you want to get the number of electrons present in this copper atom and the number of protons present in the copper atom. So actually, if you draw the atomic structure like this one, yan, yung pinakagitna ng copper atom, that is called, or any atom, is called a nucleus. Okay? Nucleus yung tawag sa pinakagitna na structure ng atom. And then, meron yan tinatawag na orbits. Yung orbits is pinapalibutan niya yung nucleus. Okay? So, tingnan natin kung ilang orbits yung makukuha natin sa copper atom. Okay? The atomic mass or atomic number of the copper atom is equal to 29. So, meaning to say, dyan mo rin makukuha yung number ng electrons and protons. So, the number of electrons for the copper atom is also equal to 29. So, since copper atom is a neutral atom, so it has also a number of 29 electrons and 29 protons. Okay? So, how about the number of neutrons? Kasi sa loob ng nucleus, inside the nucleus, dalawa yung meron dyan. So, nandyan ang protons and nandyan din yung neutrons. Okay? Protons represent a positive charge and neutrons represent a neutral charge. Neutral yan. And then, electrons represent a negative charge. Okay? Kung yung protons and neutrons ay nasa loob ng nucleus, so the number of protons here inside the nucleus is equal to 29. Okay? How about the number of neutrons? So the number of neutrons is simply the difference between the atomic mass and the atomic number. Okay. So, and this is equal to 29. 64, I'm sorry. 64 minus 29. And this is equal to 35, I think. So, the number of neutrons here is 35. Okay. Anyway, the most important thing here is the number of electrons. Okay. So, since the number of electrons is 29, and this has a charge of negative, so, and then, yun yung ilalagay natin sa mga orbits, yung electrons. Okay? This is the proper structure of the atom. The question is, how many electrons are there in each orbit? So, if you recall the formula for the Bohr model, that is equal to the number of electrons in each orbit. This is maximum. That is equal to 2n squared. Okay? Yung maximum number of electrons sa bawat orbit is equal to 2n squared, where n is the number of shell, or the shell number. Shell number. Let's say, for example, this first orbit, that is equal to shell number 1, and for the second orbit, that is equal to shell number 2, where n is equal to 2. Okay? So, let us assume that the number of electrons for the first orbit is equal to 2. So, since this is a first orbit, that is 1. N is equal to 1. Okay? So, 2 times 1 squared is equal to 2. So, meaning to say the number of electrons maximum in the first orbit is equal to 2. Okay? Lagyan natin ng 2 electrons here. Sabihin meron kang 2 electrons here. Okay? For the second orbit, so the number of electrons in the second orbit for the second shell, the number of electrons maximum is equal to 2. So since this is now for the second shell, the n is equal to 2. Okay. So the maximum number of electrons in the second shell is equal to, so 2 squared is 4. So 2 times 4 is 8. So meaning to say, the maximum number of electrons in the second shell is equal to 8. So let's have a red electrons equal to 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay? So 8. So tuloy-tuloy lang yan hanggat mabuo mo yung 29. Okay? Because number of electrons in the copper atom is 29. So ilan na lahat? So meron na tayong 2, 8, I'm sorry. Yes, so meron na tayong 2, meron na tayong 2, 8, so 10 pa lang. Kulang pa tayo ng 18. Hindi, 19. Kulang pa tayo ng 19. Tama ba? 19? Kasi 10 pa lang. Okay. Kulang pa tayo ng 19. Okay. Let us compute for the third shell. At third shell, the number of electrons is equal to 2. So this is now 3 because we are in the third shell. So 2 times 3 squared is 9, times 2 is 18. So mean to say for the third shell, we have a number of electrons of 18. Okay, 18. So, mahirap to, 18 ah. So, 1. Okay lang kahit di pantay-pantay siguro. Mahalaga mo po yung 18. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Wow, yun lang. Hindi niya kaya. Okay, class, hindi kaya i-drawing ng mabilisan. Okay, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Hindi pantay. So, okay lang yan. At least meron tayong 18. Okay? So, meron tayong 18 electrons in the third shell. So, ilan na lahat yan? So, 18 plus 2, 20, 28. So, may kulang pang isa. Okay? So, let us put the last one here. So, the last one is for the outer shell. Ito na yung pinaka-last na shell. Kaya tinawag ko na siyang outer shell. Okay? For the outer shell, we have only one electron. Okay? So, dito na lang natin lagay sa baba yung remaining one electron. Okay? That one. Okay? And this one electron in the outer shell is called, we call this valence shell. Okay? So, we call that valence shell because the shell of this electron is called, ang tawag kasi dito sa outer shell is called valence shell. I'm sorry, baliktad. Okay, sorry. The outer orbit is called the valence shell, and the electron in the outer shell is called valence electron. So this is valence electron. Okay, so this is the complete structure of the copper atom, the atomic structure of the copper atom. Okay, so what is the importance of this? So ito kasi yung magpa-determine kung ano ba yung classification ng isang material o ng isang atom na yon. Kung yan ba ay isang insulator, conductor, or semiconductor. Okay? So, ang conductor kasi has only one valence electron. The conductor has only one valence electron. The insulator has 8 valence electron. And the semiconductor has 4 valence electron in their atom or atomic structure. Okay? So, what if I apply a force here, the atom, kahit anong force, pwedeng electromotive force or thermal energy or any disturbance na pwedeng magpatanggal dito sa valence electron. Okay? Once you applied a force kasi in this atom or any atom, ang unang tatamaan dyan is yung pinaka-outer shell. Because this inner shells, inner electrons in the inner shells, stable kasi ito. Okay? So because of the, actually they are attracted by the central part or the center, which is the nucleus, because this is a represent a positive charge. All the negative charge will be attracted by this central force or central energy. So the reason why they are not being attracted to the center is just like what happened to the uh, planetary motion. Katulad na nangyayari sa sun and the planets around the sun. Kaya hindi sila na-attract nung sun is dahil sa ine-exert nilang force, which is called a centrifugal force. Umiikot kasi ito ng mabilis yung mga electrons dito sa orbits. So as they are near into the center, mas mabilis yung ikot nila. Mas malapit yung mga electrons sa center, mas mabilis yung ikot nila, mas malakas yung force na ine-exert nila palayo sa center, which is equal to centrifugal force. Okay? So habang lumalayo yan, mas humihina yung centrifugal force na ine-exert nila, which is outward to the center. Okay? Just like what happened in the, kapag nagpaikot ka ng bato na nakatali, di ba? Yung force na nagme-maintain sa bato na may tali is what we call a centripetal naman yan. Kaya tuloy-tuloy yung ikot niya. Yung centrifugal force naman is yung the real example that kung there is centrifugal force is yung if you are banking in the curved road, let's say for example, mayroong ito, sa baba, merong curve dyan, and then merong bus or jeep or simply a car. So, pag yung car ay mabilis na tumatakbo, let's say this is a bus or car, mabilis na tumatakbo sa kurbada, di ba, the passenger inside the bus or car experiencing a force which is outward the center. Let's say this is the center. Kapag mabilis yung takbo ng sasakyan sa kurbada, yung mga pasahero dyan is parang pumupunta palayo dito sa center. That is equal to the centrifugal force. The passenger or the passengers are exerting the force which is called centrifugal force. Okay? So, yung sa motor naman, pag sa kurbada, di ba? Sumasabay sa kurbada. So, centripetal doon. Okay? The centripetal force is inward to the center. The centrifugal force is outward to the center. That's why ito, nagiging stable yung mga electrons na to dito sa loob, yung malapit sa center because they are exerting centrifugal force. So, habang lumalayo yan, lumiliit yung centrifugal force, bumababa. So, pag sobrang layo na, katulad nito, sa valence electron na nandito sa valence shell, so less ang force na in-exert nito. So, may ito say, mabagal yung takbo niyan. Okay? So, kung mabagal yan, madali yang matanggal dito sa shell na to. Okay? So, konting apply mo lang ng force. Let's say, for example, a voltage or electromotive force or something thermal energy. Yung pwede magpatanggal dyan. So, pag nangyari yon, kapag natanggal yung valence electron dyan sa valence shell, the electron will go here outside the copper atom. Okay? So, and this electron is now called free electron. Okay? Since nawala siya dun sa shell, malaya na yan. Kaya naging free electron na yan. Okay? This free electron, ito yung magpa-determine ng classification ng isang material. Since this is a copper atom, so meaning to say, let's say for example, we draw a copper wire. So this copper wire composed of many or millions, thousands, billions of copper atom inside. So meaning to say kung each copper atom has one free electron. So if this copper wire has millions of copper atoms, meron din siyang millions of free electrons kapag dinisturb mo yun. Okay? So maraming free electrons dito sa isang copper wire. Okay? So, ito na yung naging debate dati na bakit daw yung flow ng electron is conventional. Yung electrons o yung electricity naman or the current by definition is a flow of electrons. Diba? Since the electrons is a negative charge, so meaning to say, dito nang galing yung daloy ng kuryente or ng flow ng electrons. So meaning to say, the flow of current must be from negative going to positive. Okay? That is why there are some debates. Maraming nangyari dati, nagtalo sila kung ano ba talaga yung tunay na flow ng current or ng kuryente, kung electron flow ba yan o conventional flow ba yan. So, the answer is walang mali sa dalawa. It depends on how you use the two types of current flow. Kasi ngayon, usually, in computation, ginagamit yung conventional flow. And then, at the same time, for proving, ginamit yung electron flow. Kahit saan sa dalawa, pwede mong gamitin. Okay? Pwede mong gamitin magkasabay yung dalawa. Pero kung mas prefer mo yung conventional flow, gamitin mo. Kung mas prefer mo yung electron flow, gamitin mo rin. Okay? Lahat yun tama. So, in electronics, there are no exact answers. All the answers are approximations. So, by the future topics, we will discuss all about that. For now, thank you for listening and watching. So, let us end.